Welcome, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is a pleasure to be here to celebrate Shabbat with you, even though this is somewhat of a sad occasion. Where's that noise coming from? Oh, we're transmitting by Zoom. I think we're getting a little feedback. It's okay, I like feedback. If you have any comments you want to make, you disagree with anything I say, go ahead and let me know. We like to have a good exchange of views. Anyway, as I was saying, it's a rather sad occasion also. This is the yahrzeit of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade passed away 1 year ago tomorrow, but in Judaism, we begin to celebrate on the day before. And therefore, this actually is the yahrzeit of Roe v. Wade. Now just talk among yourselves for a minute. Thanks, Sharon. Let me thank Sharon for taking care of everything. She's really good. She does everything around here. You name it, she does it. If you think anything I have to say is worth listening to, that's because Sharon wrote it for me. All right, she does everything. She even writes my script. We also very much appreciate Suzanne Burstein, who assists in so many ways. The two of them were president of Congregation L'Dor Va-Dor. Right now we're in limbo. If anyone here would like to be president of L'Dor Va-Dor, come and see me. We can make it happen. We also have Valerie Jett, who's also been very helpful. She'll be coming up later on to participate in the service. We still haven't convinced her to sing yet, but maybe if we keep at it and we're persistent, she might. If you notice, Carol is not here, and therefore, again, you're stuck with me singing. I think this is the third time in a row. So, as you might have noticed, I'm a rabbi. I am not a cantor. Okay? So if I attempt to sing any of these songs, I don't want you to say, gee, that wasn't very good singing. I'm not posing myself as a professional singer. But if Carol's not here in her absence, I'll do the best I can with my baritone. And if you'd like, you can join in with me. This is Congregation L'Dor Va-Dor, one of a kind. We practice Cosmic Judaism envisioned by Albert Einstein, who said the religion of the future will be a cosmic religion, meaning that it won't be tribal. It'll embrace the entire cosmos and seek unity and harmony among all people and all living things. Also, it will embrace science. And we're not really, in Cosmic Judaism, we're not concerned about the hereafter. In fact, scientifically, it doesn't seem like it exists. Other than what we do, the good deeds will live on. But we are very interested in what we're hereafter in this world. And therefore, I would like to quote someone as we start who did not believe in any type of religion at all, other than the fact that she considered nature to be sacred. Her name was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. You might have heard of her because she's associated with mass murder. But before the killing took place at high school, she was one of the most celebrated women in the world. She was the first one to recognize that the Everglades was a treasure, a national treasure, and not just a swamp. And she said this, I believe that life should be lived so vividly and so intensely that thoughts of another life or a longer life are not necessary. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yes, you can do that. We admire her words, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And I just want to share with you also, when I was in the Florida legislature, when they named the turnpike after Ronald Reagan, I voted against it and said they should have named it the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Turnpike, which is why it takes me a little longer to get places, because it's hard to avoid the Reagan Turnpike and George Bush Boulevard. It takes me a little longer to get places. But we are here now, ready to celebrate Shabbat in a rational way. And we start out with a beautiful song called Ma Yafeh Hayom. If you go to Israel today and you ask somebody, how are things going? He'll say, Yofi. Yofi means, hey, it's great. It's from the word Yafeh, meaning nice or beautiful. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. The words aren't too tricky. You might be able to join in. Do we have it up here? Oh, yeah. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Now it is my pleasure to call up Emily Jacobs Robarts to lead us in the lighting of the candles. And we're moving right along. I have instructions. I have to try to keep this to a happy hour. We have anything you'd like to share with us, feel free to do so.
As we kindle the lights of Shabbat, we remember the words of Torah. The Torah is light, the mitzvah a lamp. May we observe Shabbat this and every week by learning Torah and doing mitzvot, kindling the light of good deeds and basking in their light. So let us continue with this beautiful custom and light the Shabbat candles. Before I do, I just want to say I just come back from visiting my family in Boston. Most of you know that my family is kind of a different family. I have a black son-in-law and a Hispanic son-in-law and a Catholic daughter-in-law and various grandchildren, most of whom have been bar and bat mitzvah. Actually, the one Jewish doctor's son-in-law is a Republican. I think you've met him. It's a black sheep in the white family. But we all get along. We all get along very well. And, you know, if the rest of the world could do that, it would be nice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik haneh shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those inspiring words. We do embrace a lot of diversity here. You notice she did the blessing in Ashkenazic Hebrew, perfect Ashkenazic, and we also use Sephardic. Now, we're going to have the Kiddush led for us by Suzanne Burstein, and she's also welcome to share any comments that she would like to make on this Shabbat.
Thank you, Rabbi. Kiddush is a prayer expressing the sanctity of the day. The word Kiddush and other similar words such as Kedusha mean holy. The blessing expresses joy for the gift of Shabbat, the day of rest, and in honor of creation. We therefore raise the cup of sweet wine and recite the words of the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And with that, I say Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much. It's reminiscent of her days as president when she used to come up and do the announcements, and everybody would look forward. Some people would come to the services just to hear her rousing Shabbat Shalom at the end of her announcement. So that we appreciate that, and we appreciate your wonderful enthusiasm. As you know, in Judaism, we have certain qualities or traits that we espouse. One of them, my dad used to say, is to be a Jew is to do. It's not so much creeds, but deeds. And so we're kind of an activist religion, and we're an activist congregation. And we take pride in that. But there's other religions that have other things that they concentrate on and that we could learn from. One of those religions is the Buddhist tradition. The Buddhist tradition has much to offer and share. And when it comes to meditation, they got us beat, hands down, I got to admit. What do we do here? We have a moment of silence. They have a moment of talking and a lot of silence, a lot of meditation, guided meditation. And we happen to have an expert, a scholar, a spiritual leader who's Buddhist, who I'm very fond of, for many reasons. But one reason is she combines the contemplation and the thoughtfulness and the care and the compassion of Buddhism with action. She is a plaintiff in our lawsuit against the state of Florida, vindicating abortion rights, not just for Jews, but people of all faiths. And I'm really thrilled to have her as a plaintiff, as a friend, and also to have her here. So I'm giving her a little warning. I'm giving you a little preamble because we're going to do silent meditation. And usually I say a few words before and we do a little, but I'm going to let you lead us, if you would, in silent meditation. You probably have about, how long, Sharon? About 5 minutes? Maybe about 5 minutes to figure out what you're going to say. But I know you lead meditation all the time, so you don't even need that. Okay. Now we're going to continue with invitation to prayer. Okay. So from a cosmic perspective, a rational perspective, when we engage in prayer, we're not seeking divine intervention from an outside source. We're seeking to understand that this vast, creative, awesome power that's all around us, that's in all, that unites all, that transcends all, it's in us too. We're part of this universe. That same creative power that generated the entire universe from a singularity, it's in us. And therefore we engage in meditation, silence, prayers, in order to try to get in touch with that part of us. When we do, we recognize, you know what? It's also in other people. Even people who belong to a different political party, or a different religion, or a different race, or a different species. It's in all of us, and that helps us to become better people and more compassionate. And so that's what these prayers are. It's a way of getting in touch with that. And we do it collectively because we envision not only what we could achieve if we lived up to our potential, but what the world could achieve if we all work together at it. So that's the purpose of these prayers. Now, if you hold a traditional view and believe that somebody out there is going to help you out, well, good luck with that. And you're welcome to, when you come here, in all seriousness, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So we don't say, oh, you have to think like I do, or Cosmic Judaism. You can believe any way you want. If you just like hanging out with other people who care about making the world a better place and appreciate Jewish tradition, it's all good. We love everybody here under one roof. So let us read responsibly, if you would. We have come together to strengthen our bonds with our people Israel. We are Jews, but each of us is unique, with differing feelings and insights, for we are children of one people and one heritage. And we are one in search of life's meaning. The prayers, I'm not going to translate every word of the prayers for you, but I will give you the gist. The Baruch Hu basically is, let us consider and ponder how awesome all of creation is, which too often we take for granted. The Baruch Hu, and usually we stand for this in awe of creation. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Va'ed. Let us exalt and celebrate the wonder, beauty, and majesty of the creative power that gave rise to everything, including us. As I mentioned, we believe in Judaism that all of this creation is one. Our people never heard of the Big Bang, but they had some insight that it all emerged from one source, and our goal is to make all one once again, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît. Please be seated. Now, we also believe that all of creation is awesome and wondrous, and we should have a feeling of love towards everything. Now, some of you might not love all of creation. You might think, well, the insects, they're not all that lovable. If it wasn't for insects, life on earth would be impossible. So therefore, we should appreciate everything. We continue with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. V'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshachbecha uvkumecha. Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha. V'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. If you're wondering what all of that means, it means that we should try to feel love for others and all living things, not just once in a while, but when we lie down, every night, when we rise up, when we walk by the way, and when we're sharing our thoughts with our kids, we should try to inculcate in them a love for all creation as well. We continue now with the Avot Imahot. Avot Imahot means fathers and mothers. We give thanks here to our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors. This week I officiated 2 celebrations of life, what other people refer to as a funeral, for 2, they were both Navy officers serving in World War II. One was 98 and one was 96. The 96-year-old is the youngest age possible to be a veteran of World War II. If you do the math, you can figure it out. Unless you snuck in early and enlisted when you were less than 18, when we say the Avot V'Imahot, we give thanks to the greatest generation who allowed us to be here today. If you're Jewish, you wouldn't be here except for that greatest generation that defended our country from Nazism. And if you're American, you wouldn't be living in a land of freedom, and you'd probably be speaking German. So we should also give thanks to the veterans, not just in World War II, but those who are willing to write a blank check up into the amount of their lives that they wrote for this country. So we think of them also, and also our Jewish ancestors who gave us this incredible heritage. Hopefully we'll be worthy of it. So I ask you, if you are comfortable doing so, if you can, please stand up and we'll read the Avot V'Imahot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Socha, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. If you want to know what all of that means, it means that we believe that the creative power that generates life and existence is sacred, and therefore we too have the capacity to be sacred once we recognize that in ourselves. Next song we do is an adaptation. Here at L'Dor Va-Dor we take a lot of music and sometimes we adulterate it beyond recognition. This one is just a slight modification. Instead of Ya'aseh Shalom, which means that God will make peace, it says Na'aseh Shalom, meaning that if we recognize godliness within us, we shall make peace. So we tend to say Na'aseh Shalom. I do thank Ruth for pitching in and doing such a great job on the piano. She's one of the very few people that can follow my baritone. She doesn't always know where I'm going to go, but nor do I. But let's see if this one works out. Na'aseh Shalom. Na'aseh Shalom bimromav. ונעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו Imaru, amen. Yaseh shalom, naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, naaseh shalom, naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, naaseh shalom, naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, naaseh shalom, naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Now we're going to enter into a few moments of silent meditation. I will tell you that Maya Malay will come up and lead this. She is a plaintiff in the lawsuit, and she kind of shares the philosophy that I admire so much in someone like Tuvia Bielski. Anyone ever hear of Tuvia Bielski? Tuvia Bielski was living out in Belarus when communities were being wiped out, and there was very little communication. He was one of the first to recognize this is going on. So he went to his village and he said, "You got to get the heck out of here, fight back." And they said, we don't believe you. Nobody would be that vicious and cruel that they're going to wipe out a whole village. You're crazy. And he convinced some people, including his brothers. Together they fought back. And they not only saved themselves, they saved many people. They were partisan fighters with nothing but their wits and their courage. They went out and they actually executed some of the Nazis and the collaborators. They saved a lot of people, and they were incredible. Well, Tuvia Bielski, his motto was, "Freedom begins with an act of defiance." And someone who exemplifies that motto is Maya Malay. I'm glad to call her up on this anniversary of the demise of Roe v. Wade, the yahrzeit of Roe v. Wade. Come on up, share any observations you like about that situation or anything else as you lead us in silent meditation.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, and wonderful to be here. I must say, as a Buddhist, we may have meditation down, but we don't have near the fun that you all do. I love it. Anyway, thank you for being here. I am one of the plaintiffs, and I've looked at this from a number of perspectives, as well as other social and political issues that are at hand these days. And a lot from the Buddhist perspective, we consider a broader view instead of the one issue that may be addressed in terms of how does this impact others? What's the ripple effect? How many other privileges and rights will be withdrawn, and who's determining that? So it's a wonderful thing when we start to consider, as Rabbi has said today, to love all beings and to think of all beings and not just set about, as many of our politicians do, their own personal agenda according to their limited beliefs and or their need for power or control. And so often in Buddhism, we really consider how to be loving even in the face of opposition, because we don't want to take ourselves out of a loving place, which doesn't mean we become disempowered or doormats. It actually strengthens us to be more clear and more objective. So with tonight's meditation, because meditation leads us to many things, the practice we'll do tonight is called shamatha, and that translates to calm, abiding, or dwelling in tranquility. And one of the first things shamatha does for us, it allows us to train our mind to go where we want it to go instead of our usual habitual tendency, which is to be carried off with it. We learn in Buddhism, as well as psychology, our thoughts make our feelings, make our perceptions and our behaviors. And most of our thoughts are subconscious. So meditation allows us to center and get quiet enough that we start to see what those thoughts are much more clearly and the influence they have over our emotions and our perspectives. So one of the first things we do with shamatha is train the mind. We put it where we want it to go. And then what will happen? It'll run off to a thought, what you have to do on the way home or tomorrow, or who said what to you earlier today, or whatever it is. And then we gently steer it back through the focal point of using our breath as a place of centering our attention and awareness, and also a gentle mantra. You may choose to use a mantra from your tradition, maybe shalom, and we rest the mind gently and steadily on those two points, and we call them objects of meditation. When mind wanders, we gently call the attention back as we allow a sense of peace to emerge, which naturally occurs. So with that, let's go into our meditation. Part of our practice is we don't get disturbed by externals. So we can think maybe that's our dear child we haven't heard from in 2 weeks calling. And so we'll be happy that that call's coming in. So thank you. Let's go into our meditation here this evening. Thank you again. So a little stretch to the body, as that creates a more friendly state for our body to feel comfortable, as sometimes when we get still, we'll notice a little restlessness. And then a gentle downward eye gaze, 1.5 feet or 2 feet in front. This allows the mind to start settling the discursive thought process. As you feel ready, allowing your eyes to gently close and starting to rest your attention on your breathing, your normal breathing rhythm, as you notice the coolness of the air as it enters the nostrils, the warmth of the air with the exhale, how the chest rises and falls with each inhale and each exhale. And noticing particularly the point right at the end of the exhale, just before the inhale, and using that point to feel even more still, calm, quiet, and relaxed. Gently introducing the mantra or a sacred word, and offering to the mind in a gentle and soft way of focusing attention towards the breathing and the mantra. Perhaps we use Shalom tonight. If mind wanders, simply notice that, labeling it distraction or thinking, and gently steering the attention back to the breath and the mantra as we allow mind to get more quiet, and thus we become more peaceful. And gently and easily, a nice full breath, and a relaxing with the exhale as we see the ease that the mind and breath can create in the body, balance in the emotions, and peace in the mind. And with a feeling of gratitude, and with the aspiration to become the most loving beings we can possibly be. We conclude tonight's meditation with that feeling of peace and the abiding quality of meditation that we carry with us beyond this moment, beyond this evening, for however long we choose. And then gently and easily, and as you feel ready, opening the eyes and bringing the attention back into the room. Good. So sometimes silence can feel a little uncomfortable, and this is often a place where we get to see our discursive thinking and the restlessness. Maybe even tonight you saw the commentary. This is boring. Am I doing this right? I don't know about this stuff. And again, how the mind will operate us sometimes. And so it begins to produce the ability to really be in charge of our mind. We call it our mind, but more often than not, it's running us versus the other way around. So even the short practice has great benefit. And as we said, an abiding quality that when done over and over again, even in short intervals, starts to sustain naturally, as it is a reflection of our own true nature, which is peace, which is love, and which is strength. So thank you so much for having me here this evening, and many blessings to you all. Happy summertime, and have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, Maya. Well, we've done a lot of meditation here before, but I don't remember anything quite like that. Thank you so much. I know I feel uplifted as well. Does anybody know where the word piano comes from? Where do they get that name for this instrument? What's that? Piano means soft. Yes, soft. It used to be called pianoforte, soft, loud. Because before that, there was a harpsichord. You could bang on it all you want. It didn't matter. It was always the same. But the piano is the first one we could play soft and loud. It was beautiful. If we could adopt that quality in ourselves, gentleness, peacefulness, calmness, but also strength, that's what Maya demonstrates to me. You would hardly believe that someone as sweet and calm and mellow as she is here leading meditation could be tough as nails when it comes to fighting for what's right and fighting to defend women's rights, not just here, but across the land. That's what we should strive for. Be tough and also gentle when the situation calls for that. Thank you very much for leading us in that very beautiful meditation. She also reminds me of the shmata. In Yiddish, we have a word that sounds like that. It's called shmata. You know what shmata is? You know, shmata is like a little rag or something. It's also the dress that your ex-husband's new wife is wearing. That's called a shmata. A rag, you know. But shmata also starts with shema. And shema is a pretty good word to use as a mantra also. Because shema means before we can figure out what's going on, before we can understand, we need to hear. We need to listen. That's why it's the watchword of the Jewish faith. To be able to listen to the other person and hear what's going on. Then we can figure things out. So with that beautiful silent meditation we had, we now mention the names of those who are ailing. Sharon Babbitt, Dr. Stephen Berkowitz, Rita Elias, Bill Field, Donna Field, Laura Gallagher, Cantor Carol Garrett, Jim Garrett, Sherry Glass, Nadine Herbst, Gary Herman, Carol Kahn, Kendra Kurse, Ann Kritzer, Dr. Suhir Nair, David Notiff, Marilyn Paul, Laura Perlman Devins, Ira Phillips, Vivian Cronin, Bernie Rosen, Susan Rosenberg, Stanley Rosenwasser, Miriam Sivak, Jacob Vilner, Douglas Volan, Jordan Volan, Naomi Volan, and Sheila Winston. Anybody else want to say a name? If you want to stand up and recite a name, go ahead. Yes? Thanks. Anybody else? Yes? Yes. Good. Okay. We also include in our prayers for those who are healing the people in many countries that are not doing too well, like Ukraine and Russia and Iran. And we also say a prayer of healing for our planet. Hopefully we will reverse all the damage that we're doing and try to make amends. Let us keep them all in our prayer and say that we hope they have a refuah shlema, complete restoration to good health. Now we have the Misha Berach, related to the word Baruch. We're going to need some water for this one. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'av bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Well, before we have the Torah reading, I do have a few songs I wanted to share with you, a cappella, in commemoration of the demise of Roe v. Wade and the imposition of some very draconian, archaic, Christian theocratic laws regarding abortion, also education, teaching Black history, and a whole bunch of other things. So I wrote quite a few songs. I've been inspired. I'll share with you. This one, you might recognize the original. I'm caught in a trap, 'cause I can't abort, and I'm forced by the DeSantis to have a baby. Oh, why can't he see what he's doing to me with all these laws that are just crazy? We can't go on forever with outrageous laws that violate the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. I'm caught in a trap, 'cause I can't abort, and I'm not ready for a baby. Oh, why can't you see what you're doing to me with laws that oppress and degrade me? We can't go on forever with fictitious lies and compelled parenthood by malicious guys. Please, before another woman dies, try to open up your eyes. It's not too late to realize that compelling birth is most unwise. Now I have another song I wanted to share with you on this occasion. Well, this is usually sung by a woman, but I'll take the role of a woman in this case. I am woman and I vote, so politicians please take note. If you try to take abortion rights away, we will go out to the polls and rake you through the coals, and we'll send you packing on election day. So I'll raise my voice in this great land of the free. Yes, I have a choice about my maternity. If I want to, I'll choose to have a child. I am free. I am responsible. I am woman. Anybody recognize that song from the good old days? Helen Reddy, that's right. Okay, now, some of you, I'm just giving you abbreviated, circumcised versions of the songs. Now, some of you did see my article in the Palm Beach Post about the Ag Reserve. The Ag Reserve is being systematically destroyed by some rapacious county commissioners whose only idea of green is not saving the planet, but taking campaign contributions in the form of green cold cash and then approving the next development. So I reached into Jewish music and Jewish lore. I'll just give you a few of my favorites, a few verses. One goes like this. We have a little farmland, a miracle on earth, where nature's had the upper hand since long before our birth. Oh, Palm Beach County Commission, our lives you should enhance. So join us in this mission to give our earth a chance. We have some open space. It's called the Ag Reserve, a very nice place, our county's last preserve. Oh, Palm Beach County Commission, we mean no disrespect, but when developers seek submission, you need not genuflect. Now, if you'd like to hear the rest of these songs, I will be putting them on YouTube and on our congregation website. The letter that was in the Palm Beach Post today, I thank them very much for publishing it. Other newspapers wouldn't touch it. It's too controversial. It was much longer and much more serious-minded. I will put that in the newsletter. on the website of L'Dor Va-Dor. If you want to find out what's going on in the world and what you can do about it as Jews or as people who care, get on ledorvador.org. You'll find all this stuff and more. And also, please tell your friends about it. Now we're going to have the Torah service. We're reading an amazing passage. It's called Korach. Before we read Korach, we have some responsive reading, and then I call up Sue Keegan and Valerie Jett to lead us in the Torah honors. Please read responsibly with me. Our light is Torah, mitzvot are our lamp. Dark and twisting is the road to peace. Happy the generation whose light will guide them to its end. We now call up Sue Kagan, Valerie Jett. Please take the Torah. If you'd like, if you want to carry a noisemaker, anybody else can come up and make a little noise as we march the Torah around. וקיים, דוד מלך ישראל חי חי 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 וקיים. הבאנו שלום, שלום, שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום, שלום, שלום עליכם. What else do you know? לא ייסגוי, על שלושה דברים. בשנה הבאה. Which one? בשנה הבאה פרד ונספור ציפורים נודדות. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. בין השדות עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. All right, thank you so much. Got to make a concession to old age here. Putting on my glasses. Yeah, my eyesight's not too good. I have 3 pairs of glasses, one to see far, one to see close, and the other to find my other glasses. It's very difficult. Before we read from the Torah, we do have a blessing for everything, so we'll say the blessing of the Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vahid. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. So these the Torah blessings in their original form gave thanks to God for choosing us among all people, which I don't know, it seems a little bit arrogant to say that He chose us above everybody else. And also it's not very scientific. So we interpret this a slightly different way here at L'Dor Va-Dor. We are the ones who did the choosing. Throughout all the persecution, all the years, we chose to keep a dream alive, dream of a better world, world of compassion, justice, and fairness. We did the choosing. We still choose every day. Anytime we get demoralized and are ready to give up and think it's hopeless, we choose to abandon the courage and the indomitable spirit of the Jewish people. Anytime we get angry and feel the need to strike back and retaliate because somebody treated us poorly, instead of treating us the way they should treat us, then we're not choosing Judaism. But every time we see the good in people and are willing to help them see it also, we choose to be a righteous people. We're going to read now from the book of Korach. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל העדה לאמור, העלו מסביב למשכן קורח, דתן ואבירם, ויקם משה וילך אל דתן ואבירם, וילכו אחריו, זקני ישראל. There were some troublemakers here, some no good nicks, Korach and Dotan, and Moses saying, don't hang out with these people. These guys are bad news, going to get you into a lot of trouble. Tuhu na me'alo ale ha'anashim ha'chasha'im ha'ele. In Hebrew, the word for evil is Russia. Russia, or in modern Hebrew it's Rasha, but in Yiddish it's Russia, or plural is Rashaim. So he's saying, hey, don't hang out with Rashaim. Don't get away from their tents and their dwelling places. Don't have anything to do with them. Va'al dit'an b'chol asher lehem pen tisafu b'chol chet dinam. If you don't distance yourself, you'll be caught up in their sin. ויעלו מעל מסביב קורח ואביו מסביב תוראו ואבירם יצאו ניצבים פתח אוהל ידם ונסיכם ביניכם ותפכם. Unfortunately, their wives and their children and some of their deluded, brainwashed followers were incapable of distancing themselves, no matter what they did. Even if Korach shot someone on Fifth Avenue, it really wouldn't matter. These people were just going to stick with him until the very end. תאכלו בהם ונשיכם ונכם ותהפכם ויאמר משה בזאת תדעון כי אדוני שמחני לעשות את כל העשים האלה כי לא מלבי עם כמות חטא בכל האדם ויותן אלה ופקדיהם כל האדם. And this, by this you will know if God himself sent me or if I'm just a person speaking off the top of my head without any divine authority. לא אדוני שלחני ואם בריאות יברא אדוני יפצתה האדמה את פיה תבלע אותם ואת כל אשר להם וירדו חינם שאולה וידעתם כי נעצו האנשים האלה את אדוני. If they die a natural death, these people around Korach, then you'll know nobody sent me. But if a new way of dying comes up and they die a very unnatural way, then you'll know that something quite remarkable is going on here. את כל הדברים האלה, ותבקע האדמה תחתכם, ותפתח הארץ את פיה, ותבלע אותם ואת בתיהם, ואת כל האדם אשר לקורח, ואת כל הרכיש, הירדו הם בכל אשר להם חיים סעולה. And just as Moses finished speaking, the earth opened up, and it swallowed up them, their tents, their children, their wives, and everybody around them. וכל ישראל אשר סביבה נעשו לגאלם כי אמרו פן תבלעו הארץ והאש יצאו מאת אדוני תאכל את חרמשים. And they said, let's get the heck out of here. This is dangerous. We don't want to be anywhere near here. And they all ran for their lives. The blessing after the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu tuchat emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Well, my friends, you can see from this passage why the Bible is a bestseller. You can see why it's ubiquitous. It's all over the place. It's got a lot of great stuff in it. It's got sex, it's got violence, it's got drama, and it's got supernatural doings. And that's one reason why it's very popular. And you might wonder, why would a rabbi file an action against the school board to take the Bible out of the schools? Why would a rabbi do that if the Bible is so popular? Well, my friends, let me explain. I like this story. It's good. It's really good. And it teaches us something very important, which I'll get to in a minute. However, if you take these biblical stories and you impart them to children without an explanation that this represents the infancy of our moral development, the infancy of our scientific knowledge, the very beginning of our march out of abysmal ignorance into the light of day, if you don't explain that to them and they think this is divinely written and inerrant, it's a very dangerous book. And if you take adults who have an infantile mind when it comes to religion, who are on a juvenile stage of development when it comes to the Bible, where they believe their daddy in the sky wrote it and they have to obey obediently or they're going to be punished like little kids, this book is dangerous. Well, you can say, well, why would you say that, Rabbi? Where's your evidence? Evidence? Crusades? Spanish Inquisition? Pogroms? The Holocaust? The anti-Semitism that pervades the world right now because of offshoots of this Bible by people who say, no, you're not chosen, we're chosen. And our daddy in the sky likes us better than you. He doesn't like you anymore. You guys rebelled. It's dangerous stuff. But in the right hands, understood rationally, it can teach us so much. One thing that the Bible has to say is reflected in the words and the vision of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. She only endorsed 2 candidates in her life. She had no use for politicians. Governor Lawton Chiles, who made the Everglades a national park and monument. I'm very happy to say she also endorsed me when I ran for state representative, which had a lot to do with me making it. And she was 100 years old at the time. And I had a T-shirt with my picture on it. And I came over to her house, and she's very old and frail. And I gave her the T-shirt, and I said, it's such an honor to be here. I can't believe I'm standing next to you. And I want you to have this T-shirt. She said, well, it looks a little big on me. She was very frail, very small. I said, well, it's good. It's nice and loose. You can sleep in it. She says, you mean I get to sleep with you? So it would be my honor. Yes. Well, this is what she did. This is what she did that was so remarkable. She took a natural phenomenon that most people just called a swamp, something that they thought, we need to pave this over to put something useful here, like some houses. She said, no, it's not a swamp. It's an incredible natural wonder, one of the wonders of the world, a place of beauty and magnificence and creative power. She could look at that with more spirituality and more awe than any of the so-called religious people around her, even though she didn't believe in any supernatural being. She didn't believe in the supernatural, but she believed that the natural was super. And what she showed us is that we can look around this world and see things that we often take for granted, but see it with new eyes and realize how wondrous it really is. Many people can't do that. Many people look at their lives and they're dissatisfied. The key to happiness is not to figure what can we acquire and to be happy with trying to acquire, but to realize what we have is so wonderful and to be satisfied with our lot as they say in the book of Proverbs. Who is happy? Who is rich? Mi ashir, mi sheyizmach b'chelko. The one who rejoices in his lot and is satisfied with what he has. Korach was not satisfied with what he had. Korach, the one who started this insurrection, Korach was someone who was part of the assistant priests. He was a very high, elevated status. This guy had it all. He was part of the Jewish people. They believed themselves to be chosen, and he was one of the chosen of the chosen. It wasn't good enough because he just thought, wait a minute, I want more. I want more power. I want to usurp Moses. I want his power. And so he said to Moses, hey, why do you have all this power? Why are you doing all these things? Why don't you let other people have power? Well, he did. He tried to share his power. And a few passages back, he said, I wish everybody would be a prophet. But Korach wanted to achieve power for the wrong reason. Not to help others, but to help himself. Moses was selfless. He wanted to have power so that he could bring freedom and justice to people. Korach wanted it for himself. There's a very interesting thing about the name Korach. Anybody here speak a little Yiddish? You know what you're koyach? Thank you. Strength. Koyach. In Hebrew, it's koach. Strength. Koach sounds like Korach. Korach wanted strength. But he wanted strength, plus he had an R. Not Koach, but Korach. What does the R stand for? Ra'ah, which is evil. He wanted to use his strength for evil. Rasha, wickedness. Ra'ev means hunger. He had a hunger for power. Ratzon means he had the desire for power. And his desire for power was rekam, which means empty. There's nothing wrong with power if it's used to help others. My friends, each of us has power over others. A smile can bring a smile to them. An uplifting word can help them out. A disparaging word can hurt them. Our silence is the worst of all. People say bad things about our friends or associates or members of an organization, and we're silent. That hurts. Yes, Martin Luther King said in the end, we don't remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. But if we take that R and we use it for a different reason, like Rahmanas, right? Compassion, or Rosh, we use our intelligence to guide our use of power, then we have something very special. So my friends, what is this passage trying to tell us? The people around Korach, they were dragged down into the abyss. It says they were dragged down alive. What that means is that some of us are actually alive, but we're still being dragged down into the abyss. Even though physically we're living, spiritually we're dying, because we're surrounding ourselves with people who are dragging us down. When we can surround ourselves with people who are uplifting and we can lift up other people, we're lifted up. When we are always trying to drag down, then we're brought down into the abyss. And it could be politically, it could be in our family, it could be our religion. If we don't separate ourselves from evil, it's not enough just to say, well, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. No, those people with Korach, they didn't do anything either. They were just hanging out with him. They were close to him. They were supporting him. My friends, we need to separate ourselves out from evil and take a stand. Otherwise, we will be dragged down. That's what this congregation does when it comes to efforts to deny women their rights, to tell black people that you can't teach your history the right way because it makes us a little uncomfortable. What happened here? Or the genocide against Native Americans, that makes us uncomfortable. We don't want to hear about that. Or you're trans and you want to wear what you want to wear at a parade, we're uncomfortable with that. We say we fight back. We say that we are not going to be associated in the state of Florida with those types of policies without us fighting back. And if we don't do that, then we are dragged down with them. As Elie Wiesel said, silence always helps the oppressor, never the oppressed. Let us stand up. Let us give thanks for our heritage. Let us stand with Moses and let us rebel against Korach and modern day Korachs in the world today. Shabbat Shalom. Now we have one more song. that you have to put up with from me. I'm going to sing just a few verses. Never done it a cappella, but we'll see what happens. Tyrants have oppressed us, exiled us from our land, but with purpose fate has blessed us, and empowered we still stand. Jews will not surrender. The battle is not lost. We are truth's defender, regardless of the cost. And can you feel the love tonight? This is who we are. It gives us strength as spiritual wanderers, guided by a star. And can you feel the love tonight? On this day of rest, our mission is to serve humanity. With purpose we've been blessed. We'll never be defeated. We'll never disappear, because we are still needed, not in heaven, but down here. We've survived persecution, crusades and pogroms too. For justice, we are peaceful warriors. It's our role as a Jew. So can you feel the love tonight as we share Shabbat? Whether we're a king or vagabond, we give thanks for our lot. And can you feel the love tonight on this day of rest? Spreading peace and love throughout the world is our sacred quest. Sing that with me if you would. Spreading peace and love throughout the world is our sacred quest. Thank you very much. You make a fine choir. Let's see what we have next. What do we have, announcements? Okay, we're going to do Aleinu. Aleinu L'Shabbeach. If you'd like, you can stand for this. Aleinu L'Shabbeach Le'adon HaKol, La'tei Gedula Li'otzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kogoyei Aratzot, Ve'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kohem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We now move on to the Kaddish. Please remain standing. Read the names of Jason Franks, Marvin Katz, Harvey Mittelman, Faith Pear, Arlene Potter, Bobby Safe, who were recently taken from us. The name of those, the anniversary of whose departure occurs these days. Carl Bain, Abe Berenson, Jerry Kamina, Robert Corman, Andrea Donner, Libby Falick, Helen Folkman, Hyman Folkman, Leonard Gilmar, Francis Goldman, Ray Herman, Edward Horowitz, Jack Kraft, Alan Krauss, Bonnie Larson, Robert Leaf, Stephen Leibovitz, Jerome Migdal, Stanley Millman, Leon Nachmias, Philip Paritsky, Molly Pasick, Rose Raddick, Estelle Rose, Sylvia Rosenwasser, Dorothy Rothschild, Alvin, Marvin Salzer, Lauren Salzer, Simon Salzer, Molly Schipper, Alan Shadoff, Herman Shanoff, Jess Silver, Jack Sperber, Lillian Taylor, Milton Werby, and Bessie Winston. Anybody else? Yes? Yes? Anybody else? When we lose someone precious, we say, Yehi zichrono livracha. May their memory be a blessing. By every time we think about them, we're inspired to try to live up to their wonderful hopes and dreams that they had for us. Let us read together. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemeh Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach ruseh v'yamlich malchuseh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol beis Yisrael, v'agalav yizman kariv imru amen. Yehi shemeh Rabbah mivorach le'olam umei umaya, yisporach v'yistabach v'yispoah v'yischoma v'yisnaseh, v'yisadar v'yisaleh v'yishalal shemeh d'kurashah b'richu. Le'elam min kol berchasa v'shirasa, jish b'chasa v'nechem masa, ta'amichon v'yomah v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. I call up Sharon for her comments and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Barry. Thank you, Ruth Notif on the piano. Thank you, Maya Malay, for your beautiful meditative words. And thank you for Madison and for Valerie and Suzanne and all the other helpers that we have, Lester and Helen, who came early to help as well. Thank you so much. L'Dor Va-Dor welcomes all, and we hope that you've enjoyed our service tonight, and we thank you for coming through the doors of L'Dor Va-Dor. This Sunday, June 25th at 12:30 p.m., we have the luncheon with our sisterhood, the Women of Shekhinah, at Terra Fiamma in Delray Marketplace. If you'd like to join us, please see me after the service, and I think we have a few openings that we can get you in. Before we go to the next slide, we'd like anybody that would like to join us for Saturday, July 1st at 2 p.m., we have the musical comedy Murders of 1940 at FAU. We're trying to do a group to go there individually, but a group rate at $18. So we need 8 more people to go. So if you'd like to do that on Saturday afternoon, next Saturday, July 1st, let me know after the meeting, after the service. And next Tuesday, June 27th, I'll be leading the Touch of Torah because Rabbi will be away. He will return for next Friday night. Next Friday, June 30th, we'll have the Shabbat at Heritage of Delray at 7:30 p.m., hopefully with Cantor Carol Garrett and Rabbi Barry Silver. We hope that Cantor Garrett is healed and refuah shalema to her and her husband to recoup their health. Monday, July 3rd at 7 p.m. on Zoom, we have a brand new program with Cantor Carol. And thank you, Maya Malay, for giving us the incentive to do meditation. Carol's going to lead us in music and meditation with Cantor Carol. So a brand new program on Zoom at 7 p.m. and we hope you'll all join us for that. It should be really beautiful. Look for L'Dor Va-Dor on our social media, our website, ledorvador.org, our Facebook page, Instagram, and YouTube. And I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, like Suzanne did earlier.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sharon. For the final benediction, let us try to remember this story and remember to separate and distance ourselves from those who are dragging us down and to align ourselves with good causes and with good ideals, and we can help lift people up. And in that way, we lift ourselves up as well. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. We're going to gather at the county commission chambers when they vote on a project in the Ag Reserve. Everybody thinks it's a done deal. They think another project is going up and they're going to pave over Paradise. We have a different idea. There's a lot of organizations that are going to do something about it, and I hope you'll be there with us. We're also going to be gathering petitions to put abortion on the ballot. You can find them in the back, and if you sign them, we'll take them to the right place. We're also going to be showing Under God, a documentary about the fight for abortion rights led by this synagogue and others. They made a documentary. It was shown at the Sundance Film Festival. It's going to be shown here locally, maybe right in this room, and you're invited to that. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of action going on. Please join with us. I'm going to ask you to do this also for me. I'm not asking you to raise a lot of funds. A lot of people here are on fixed incomes, but I am asking you to raise consciousness. Contact your kids, your grandkids, your friends, your family. Tell them what we do here. We join science and religion. We practice a rational approach to religion. That is what's needed to save our planet. Irrational religion is not helpful, but the solution to that is not no religion. It's rational, inspired religion. Spread the word, please. Tell people to come. I appreciate your being here. It's a great privilege to be able to stand here and to share a little bit of the wisdom from my dad and from our heritage with you. It's a great privilege and a great honor. Let me share that with many others, and we can become a powerful force in this community. We're going to conclude with, I believe, Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. If you would like to see the letter that I wrote to the county commissioners before it was circumcised by the Palm Beach Post, I'm putting a copy back here. And if you'd like, take it and share it with your friends. I'm going to put it online also. I'm going to run back and do the motzi, and then we're going to be able to